Hello, dear student. Welcome to the second class of English literature. Today we will discuss the literary term dramatic monologue. First, I will tell what is dramatic monologue. Definition of dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue means self conversation, speech or talks which includes interlocutor presented dramatically. It means a person who is speaking to himself or someone else speaks to reveal specific intentions of his actions. However, in literature, it is a poetic form or a poem that presents the speech or conversation of a person in a dramatic manner. Dramatic monologue is a half poem and half drama in which a single fictional or historical character other than the poet speaks to a silent audience, constituting one or more persons. This form of poetry was perfected by Robert Browning. It has the following characteristics. Means common features. A single person, but not the poet, utters the words presented in the entire poem in a specific situation. This is the first characteristic of a dramatic monologue. Second, the protagonist addresses and interacts with one or more persons, and the reader is aware of the presence of the audience and their reactions. Means to say that the audience may or may not be present. The third characteristic is that the monologue is so organized that its focus is on the temperament and character that the dramatic speaker unintentionally reveals in the course of what he says. In other words, we can say that the dramatic monologue aims at the psychoanalysis of the protagonist. We can say that a dramatic monologue has some common features. First one, a single person delivering a speech. Second, the audience may or may not be present. Third, you can say speaker reveals his temperament and character only through his speech. Then we will discuss the types of dramatic monologue. There are three types of dramatic monologue, such as romantic monologue. Second one is philosophical and psychological monologue, and third one is conversational monologue. These are the three types of dramatic monologue. In a dramatic monologue or the poems which has such characteristics, it reveals the mind of the character whose personality is revealed unwittingly. This distinguishes a dramatic monologue from a lyric, while the implied presence of a listener distinguishes it from a soliloquy. Means to say that it is different from soliloquy. It differs from asides also. The dramatic monologue differs from the literary term aside also, since in a dramatic monologue the other character also hear what is uttered by the speaker. So it is different from aside. We will discuss this literary term dramatic monologue by some examples. The example of this form in English literature are very common. Tennyson's Ulysses, that was written in 1842. Browning's My Last Duchess, that was a famous dramatic monologue. Fra Lippi, Andrea del Sarto, Rabbi Ben Ezra, and T.S. Eliot's The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. First, we will give the example of famous dramatic monologue My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. That is my last duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder. Now, Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will please you sit and look at her? So these are the famous lines from My Last Duchess that was written by dramatic monologue. So this extract is from the famous monologue of a duke. He tells his audience, possibly the father of his new bride, about his last duchess who couldn't survive his severity. It is a type of psychological monologue which tells the psychological state of mind of the speaker. So, the first one, psychological monologue, you can understand it by the extract from My Last Duchess. Browning has exposed of the Duke's cruel state of mind through his poem My Last Duchess. Second, we will give the example of the extract that is from your prescribed syllabus poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. Let us go, and then you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table, let us go through certain half-deserted streets. The muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells. This extract is from the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, a famous and popular modern poet. He has highlighted the thoughts of a modern young man who is madly in love but still hesitates from expressing it. Therefore, he faces an existential dilemma. The poem highlights his psychological state of mind through this contemporary monologue. This extract highlights this dilemma of hesitation in the very first line and then is repeated in the last line. So, you can understand that what is dramatic monologue. So, this monologue is a half poem, half drama, in which a single functional or historical character speaks. So, you can understand now that what is the meaning and function of dramatic monologue. So, a monologue functions as a tool to give vent to one's thoughts. It provides an opportunity for the poets to use powerful words spoken through their characters. So, the characters can express themselves or their ideas without an obstacle or hindrance. A dramatic monologue is also a convenient device to present different characters and their inner through verses.